All right, what's up guys? I am live here at our new farm property. It's really bright outside, so I'm gonna try to stay in the shade, but then I can take some things out to the acres if you guys want. So we have fully moved in to the farm property in Michigan. So we are living at the farmhouse, which you can see right there. That's our new house right there. And then the wedding barn and events is right here. And then Angel Acres is back there. So I'm gonna just like walk around, share with you guys a few things. And we realized that we have not been on YouTube for quite some time. So we just wanted to update our YouTube fam and say hello. So Vane is of course the first comment as always. And Jamie said, let's go. So yeah, I'm gonna take you guys out to Angel Acres. I apologize if I kind of disappear as a silhouette as I move into the light. We're gonna head out to Angel Acres. So we have a lot of things, I'm walking backwards now. So we have a lot of things to get done business-wise. So we have to set up 2 separate businesses for our farm and then also the wedding and events. So we have a lot of stuff to get done there. And we're also gonna be applying to like remote jobs, to have temporary jobs as we're building these, because for example, the wedding and events barn is not going to be available for renting until next summer. So if you guys want to get married or know of anyone that wants to get married, let us know. And then the farm, we're going to try to get animals out there next summer or early fall. Okay, so this is my first time doing a live on a phone. So I'm going to try to see if I can see any questions. So if you guys have any questions for me, let me know. All right, live chat. I'm showing the live chat. Okay, so people have just said hello. Yeah, there's not that many people on right now. That's okay. All right, so I am standing out here on Angel Acres. I'm gonna try to flip real quick. Okay, so here are a few of the acres here. These have not been used for conventional agriculture, and you can see they have really good foliage, right? So we could get some animals out here, but it's just too small, and it's about to be winter, so it's probably not the best time. So then if we look at this line, look at that line. Isn't that crazy? So these are the fields that haven't been used for conventional ag. And then about a week ago, the farmer that was leasing this land from the previous owner, he harvested the soybeans. And so you can still see some of the soybeans there. You see that? And so it's pretty clear and obvious that this does not have much soil organic matter, whereas there's a lot more life in soil organic matter here. So in total, it's somewhere around 28, 29 acres with this plot and this plot. And so I'll kind of head over here so you guys can get a better idea of what it looks like. I guess I'll flip back to my face as I'm walking. So yeah, if you guys tuned into the last video, I kind of updated you guys on some things as well. Our first order of business is to kind of get the businesses at least started so we can start doing the documentation for that. And then basically our fall is going to be spent doing some remote and temporary jobs in the meantime. And then next week I'm going to be doing like a soil test so that we can have the starting point for the soil organic matter of these fields. And then we're going to be applying to a ton of grants because starting a farm is very expensive, especially if you have to buy the property like we have. And we did not inherit any land, so we are literally starting the farm from scratch, baseline. Okay, so I'm almost in the center here. And so we do have like just the rolling hills and acres. I'll flip it again. These like rolling hills and acres. And then we also have some of the tree line too, so we can do some nice like forest raised pork eventually, but like I mentioned in the last video, we're going to be starting with lamb next year. And then you can see this island here. So there's like a group of trees in the middle, and that's going to be really key because we can rotate pigs in there obviously, but then also that can serve as like shelter for cattle if we ever get cattle in the future. But yeah, there's acres behind there too. Okay, I'm gonna flip back and go check out the chat. So I'm gonna go to the live chat. Okay, so someone said, hey, are you going to employ someone to manage your land initially? They can bring their own cattle to promote your soil. That's a really good question. I have honestly not considered that yet. I just know that if I got cattle on this property right now, I think that it's pretty fragile, and I don't want cows are larger ruminants, so they have a bigger impact, and I don't want to like damage this soil. But that is a good consideration. I don't think that we're going to do that for fall and winter, just because we have way too much going on right now. But if next year I'm not at the place to be able to buy animals yet, like if that's too expensive and we don't have the funds for it, I really like the idea of having someone else come out here with their animals. That's a really good idea. I haven't really considered that. Okay, let me go back to the chats. So, hey Palapis. Palapis has logged on. And someone said, where's the fitness center located? I'm not going to be joining a gym. I am trying to heal my hormones, and that's a cost and expense right now. So I do not know. We are kind of in the middle of nowhere out here. Our only grocery store is Dollar General. And the closest like bigger produce store or like food cooperative store is like 45 minutes in any direction. Okay, let's see what other questions we have so far. Oh, Sarah, hey girl, thanks for tuning in out on Angel Acres. I wish you could be here with me. I'm just literally by myself if someone was recording this. Okay, so try raising a camel. Try raising a camel? Okay, that's interesting. Will you spend any more time promoting and selling your cookbook? So that's a great question. So we are working with Dr. Paul Saladino on the cookbook. It's due to the publisher November 1st, all of the materials, and it's not going to be published till 2022. So we still have a lot of time. That was the publisher's decision. We don't have a say in that. So that's just a long time from now, but it's okay. We will definitely still promote and publish that. So I just want to point out something while I'm out here on the acres. So I'm going to switch the camera. So we had just a note, we had a huge storm last night. It woke me up. We had a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning, and a lot of rain. And one of the biggest issues you guys hear about like conventional agriculture fields is that you have a lot of soil runoff, so water runoff. And I think that from my understanding, the biggest reason for that is because soil like this just does not have a lot of soil organic matter. It doesn't have many soil aggregates, and so it's really compacted. Whereas if you look at soil on like beautiful green pasture fields, they have high organic matter and they have soil aggregates. So you can almost think of that healthy soil as like a sponge. And sponges are really porous, right? So there's a lot of room for water to come in and soak it. Whereas you can imagine these type of fields, they are like a compacted sponge. And so there's no pores. And so the only room for water is to just stay on the surface level, and it runs off. And that water takes soil with it. So it takes that top soil with it. And you hear a lot about the soil and water and all the chemicals that are used in conventional ag run off into the Mississippi River, and then they are deposited down in the Gulf of Mexico, and you hear about all the pollution right there. So have a clear example of that in our field right here. Our acres, it's kind of like a bowl. So I'm at the bottom of the bowl right now. So we don't really have a place for the soil to necessarily run off. But I'm going to show you guys. Let me flip it again. Okay. So here we have like a lot of water, so it's not being soaked into the soil, whereas those healthy pastures that I showed you up there, there's no flooding at all. That water was soaked into the soil, whereas here we have a lot of the extra water. And so I think it's because there's just not much soil organic matter in this soil, and so there's not many pores for the water to be soaked down into. And so that just makes land more susceptible to drought because it can't store water, and then it makes it more susceptible to flooding as well. Sorry, that just came up because I just stepped in a big pile of water. All right, I'm gonna head back to the chats. How about getting a drone camera so you can give us an aerial perspective? That would be lovely. So here, we're gonna pretend that I have a drone out here. It's just me and the acres. Yeah, we want to get that. Jenny Harris at White Oak Pastures, one of our good friends, sent us a link to a local, not a local, but there's like a company in Michigan that does like aerial drone footage. And again, that's another expense. It's not necessarily really expensive, but it is just another expense to add to the expenses this fall. But that is something that we definitely want to do. We want to document the starting place. So you can imagine what the top of this field looks like, right? Just a bunch of brown and then that small little patch of green, and then take the same picture over and over and over again every year to document the changes. We will absolutely be doing that. And it'd be cool. We're gonna try to get that done soon. I think that that'll be really cool. All right, heading back to the chats. It's hard to do on a phone. Are the sistas back on carnivore or still doing the omnivore BS? Okay, we are animal-based with carbohydrate sources. I feel great. It's definitely not standard American diet. I'm not consuming a bunch of vegetable oils, refined grains. So I feel really good with this new approach after some food reintroduction from carnivore. I'm not saying, like, Sarah and I's purpose is not here to argue whether or not one needs carbohydrates. Like, that is not our goal. That is not our mission. We are not experts. We are just here sharing and documenting our journey. We're never going to tell anyone what he or she should do. I found some shade. Here's some shade because I'm by the tree island in Angel Acres. So I'm going to stay in the shade for a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna head back to the chat. Okay, so someone said, any coyote problems in the area? Yes, we do have coyote problems. I think that I'm definitely going to have to apply to get a gun license and get certified. I have no idea how that process even works. But we are also gonna have to make sure that we have like guard animals, and some of the animals that we're considering are just like live guardian dogs, so LGDs, and probably like a Great Pyrenees for that. Or we're looking into guard alpacas, guard geese, and what was the other tip? Guard donkeys. So one of those to keep the coyotes away, because we will be having lamb on Angel Acres next year. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the chat real quick. So someone said, if we wanted to send you guys anything, do you have a PO box? So I don't really feel comfortable putting our address out on YouTube right now. It will have to be out there eventually once we put our farm like address online. But if you are interested in sending us something, I would send us an inquiry on our website, www.Strong.Sistas.com, to get your email, and then we can communicate further there. Okay. So Julia Helfer, metabolic med student from Instagram, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Do you know already more or less when you can get your first cows? All right, so I'm going to talk about some concerns here. So first, we only have 28 or 29 acres, and you can almost think about regenerative agriculture and like this idea of rotational grazing. So rotating your animals across different paddocks around your field, you can almost think of that as like working out, right? And one of the most important steps is allowing the land to recover after the animals have been on that paddock. So the idea is that we'll be splitting up Angel Acres into different paddocks. So that's just a smaller segment of the field, and we'll rotate the animals through each of those paddocks. We'll rotate them every day. 29 acres is not very large, and so from paddock 1, I don't know how many paddocks we're going to have. We have to still develop a grazing plan, but it wouldn't be enough time to allow the paddocks to rest if we got like a few cows, because they have a stronger animal impact on the ground than lamb. And so that's why we're going to start with lamb. They are ruminants, so they're going to be really good with helping us convert this crap into perennial pastures. but they won't have as big of an impact as the cows. So that's why we're gonna start with lamb. And ideally, we get them in summer of next year. So it looks like this right now. We're gonna let it rest over the winter. Ideally, we would do some hay bombing this winter. We just don't have the funds or the time right now to do that. So the plan is to get some seeding, so plant seeds in the spring. We will have to use synthetic fertilizers for year one because like there's just no life in this, and this is advice that I've received from multiple people. You can't just use a conventional agriculture field into a regenerative field right away. It needs a boost. So we'll wean off the fertilizer, but the plan is to seed, and then with the grasses growing, then get lambs in here early summer. That is the goal. That was a long-winded answer, Julia. But yes, early summer, hopefully. Kurt, how long from getting lamb to being able to sell for meat? So that will depend on quite a few things. We can't really be picky with like which lamb we're going to be able to get out here because we want to buy lamb from a local area. So we want to buy lamb that are well adjusted to this climate and are to set ourselves up for success, right? So it's really going to depend on what the age of those lambs are and whether or not they're pregnant already, which I don't think is likely. So if we get young lambs in this early summer, we would ideally bring in a ram. So we get some ewes. Ewes are female lambs, young lambs. We'd get a ram and pregnate them in around November, so that way they would have babies in early spring. We would not want them to have babies in the fall. So it could be a really long time until we are actually able to butcher the animals, like probably 2022. But in the meantime, we're going to be working with local farms to be able to sell other people's meat so that we can offer you guys regenerative agriculture meat in the meantime as like a temporary solution until we are at the place where we can get our animals like butchered. But I don't think that it's possible to just operate on your own. I think that like a huge key to success in regenerative farming is working with other farms and forming like more of like a co-op style where you like work together to provide your audience and customers the product. And so that's something that we're going to be working on these next few months, is developing those relationships so that we can partner with farms that we trust their practices and offer products for you guys to have for regenerative agriculture meat. Okay, so heading back to the chat, I'm going to scroll back up to the top because I think I missed a lot. So just bear with me as I awkwardly scroll on my... Okay, so Natalie said, we need Angel Acres shirts, Etsy shop, yo. Okay, let me know in the comments if you guys are interested in Angel Acres shirts or us like updating our t-shirts. We have some on there, but they're obviously from our full carnivore days, so we need to update those. But let us know if you guys are interested in that. We can definitely start like... That'll help us start like advertising the farm and the business, which will be really cool. So let us know if you guys, that is something you guys are interested in. All right, going back up to the top. Okay, this is Rose Grog. So someone said, how'd the meeting with your neighbors go? That's a great question. So we are in a very small town, like I said, and kind of everyone knows everyone. And so our neighbors came over, which is really awesome. And they were like pretty much everyone on this street in our area is related. And so the previous owners of this house was in that family. And so I think that they're a little bit sad that someone new is coming in, but I hope that we will make them proud. So our neighbors are awesome. And our neighbor has 3 horses, and she said that we can come ride them and like help her out and just like get experience in some of that things, because we want to have horses for the wedding barn eventually to offer like a horse and buggy option for the wedding to like ride in on. But we are discussing with her about getting her horse manure out on here before the winter, and that would be awesome because horse manure is like natural fertilizer. So many nutrients is the weird word, but it will be great to get that horse manure out here to just give the soil a little bit more life. So neighbors are really welcoming and feel really blessed to be in this area. Hopefully we can become like part of their family-ish. Okay, gonna go back to the questions. How the meeting? Okay. Okay, so someone said, will you host retreats on your property, sponsored events to get more money? Yeah, that's a great, so we've mentioned this in the past that like, for example, like this farm will just cost us money for a few years. This will not be a profitable venture for some time. And so we need to build these other ventures, stack enterprises on this property in order to be profitable in the meantime. So obviously the wedding and special events barn is like our main focus right now, but we would love to build some cabins on this property. So let us know where do you guys want to stay? Do you guys want to stay like close up to the barn? We could build a little cabin there up at the top, or do you guys want to be back here in Angel Acres near the back, kind of like really living out in the acres, eventually out with the land? Yeah, we would love to build a few cabins for people to come and like learn about regenerative agriculture and help us out, get experience. That's our ultimate mission with this farm property. We're calling it Armstrong Farms, and then Angel Acres at Armstrong Farms, and then the wedding barn is going to be the Big Red Barn at Armstrong Farms, so the different ventures, but the entire property is going to be Armstrong Farms. We would, like, our main goal is to get people to come out here to educate people more about regenerative agriculture and get hands-on experience. Like, we need the experience first, but this is like down the line. What we want this to be bigger than just a small farm. We want it to be like an education experience, all that jazz. Okay, let me go back to where I was. Overheads. So being a doctor now, are you going to focus on some outreach educational programs you would like to run in the future for prospective ranchers? Absolutely. That I have learned, my biggest passion is educating other people on things that I'm passionate about. And in graduate school, I learned what I'm passionate about, and it's being out here and improving the health of the soil and regenerative agriculture and getting back to the land. And that's what I want to really educate people on. So absolutely, I think that that's going to be a really big focus around the farm for me, and taking you guys on YouTube throughout this process to educate you guys on this experience. And I absolutely want that to be a huge part of Sarah and I's future at Armstrong Farms. So if you guys have any specific ideas for that, like in the meantime, I was thinking about maybe setting up like a Patreon or something, so some people could get like a little bit more content and could like go through this educational experience with us. If you guys have any thoughts, let me know in the comments. I would very much appreciate that. Okay. So someone said, what would be the best way to support you, send you donations? I really appreciate that. This has not been an easy adventure. We are definitely going all in on this. As you can see with this property, we did get it for like a very good deal and price, but it's still very taxing, and it's kind of everything that we've got right now. And so that's why I said this fall, we're really going to be getting like part-time remote jobs to get some financing for like the mortgage, and then focusing on other grant opportunities to raise funds, because the startup costs for infrastructure for a farm are like insane. So our biggest project in the spring is going to be putting a fence around this entire property. Like, imagine the cost and the time for that. So just little things like that you don't think about. And then how do I get water way out here, right? To my, from the farm that's way up there. How do I get water out here? So I've got to set up fencing and water, and buying the animals and buying the seeds to plant on this land, and buying the fertilizer, which eventually we won't have to do once we can fully switch this field over. But yeah, there's just a lot of startup costs that a lot of people don't really think about with farming, especially if you have to buy the land and you didn't inherit it. And so we are going to be looking into some crowdfunding sourcing. So just stay tuned. I really appreciate that. And we never want to pressure anyone into anything like that, because ultimately our goal is to just share our journey. We're not asking for people to like support our journey. We would very much appreciate that, but that's not our main goal. We want to share this with you guys and educate you guys along the way. Okay, going back to the live chat. You should open a Workaway account to help you with all the work. I have not heard of that. Workaway account. Thank you for commenting that. I'll look into that. Thank you. Okay. Also equity for loans to get your land is also equity for loans to get some equipment. That's a great point too. We are probably going to be borrowing equipment from local farmers or renting, just because I think that that's an expense that we can wait on for a few years, because we won't, for example, we're not going to be seeding every single week. That would just be like a one-time a year thing. And so I think it would maybe make more sense for us to just borrow or rent for the first couple of years, and then eventually, you betcha, I'm gonna get a big tractor. Okay, there's some more other chats. P.O. Box, my angels. Is that like, how do we, where would be the best and most secure place to put our P.O. Box? I don't want to put that everywhere on the internet and YouTube. So Austin said, when could supporters in the area come and volunteer for a day on the farm? Stay tuned. I know that we keep saying that. We've just had a crazy last 2 months. I had my final defense. We are still working on the cookbook. That deadline is November 1st. We had to move. So we're fully out here in Michigan now, no longer in Illinois. And then we've had a lot of complications with selling our house. And I am working on my lab mates research project, and so there's a lot going on. But in the spring, who wants to come help put the fence up? So that is going to be like a weekend retreat where we will host people. It will be a really fun weekend, but it's going to require a lot of hands on, and so that'll be one of the first projects. And then if people want to help with like seeding, so we will outline the days that we're going to be doing these projects, and we would love for people to come help volunteer. I think that would be a lot of fun, and we encourage you all to come. Sorry, I blocked this. Okay. So Julia said you could get a separate P.O. box, not at the farm, somewhere in the city center, so you don't have to put your address all over the net. That's a great point. I will do that. Okay. All right, that sounds good. Okay, so I've been on here for about 27 minutes. I didn't realize that. I meant to only do 30 minutes, so we're kind of wrapping up a little bit. I'm just going to start walking back to the house. So if you guys have any more questions, hit them in the comments below. We have, just as a note, we have a long list of videos that we are going to be filming. It's just been, like I said, a crazy couple of weeks, and it wouldn't make sense for us to have filmed videos during that time. We had to prioritize some other things, but don't you guys worry. We are going to be back stronger than ever. The Strong.Sistas. Lots of content coming out, and we really appreciate you guys for kind of staying with us through this crazy hectic journey that we've been on, and we're really excited to take you guys through this next one. It's going to be so much fun. I am so excited for it. Wow. Okay, I just got to show you guys one last thing. Wow. Like, the farmer who harvested his soybeans, he did such a bad job. Like, look at how many soybeans he left. So inefficient, am I right? And that's like all over. It's just a lot of remnant soybeans out here. Okay, I'm going to the last couple of questions or comments here. Palapas, please come with the fencing, help with the fencing. I'm gonna check out Workaway for sure. And someone said beautiful day with the sun on your back. It is a gorgeous day. Like, I'm in a t-shirt, and it's almost end of October in Michigan, so it's great. I'm gonna say it again, like, I really appreciate you guys, and we are so excited to take you guys on this journey with us. Very unconventional route, but we are some unconventional sisters, am I right? All right, I'm gonna head off here. Stay tuned for some videos coming out next week, and we'll talk with you guys soon. Love you guys, and as always, make sure you are behaving like an angel on Angel Acres. Okay, I don't even know how to go on live here. There we go.